Put on that extra light. I don't know. It's looking kind of blue there. You know what I'm saying? Kind of blue there. I know this. Like I got these like soft lights. Gotta get. I gotta pick up some more of my other lights. They had broke. Um. Nonetheless, yo, it's good. How you doing, man? I'm Juice Wonder. This is Old Drug Gritty Grand Strains. Right? If you know anything about Grand Strains, it's grams and strains. That's gas, right? So, it's a play on words. That's how you know I understand this Freemasonry thing, right? Because one of the greatest tools of Freemasonry is the play on words, right? And so when you understand the play on words and how it can be double talk, you could be saying two things at one time, right? And so while you convince a group of people to think one way, you're really meaning it in another way. It's like when you take the 120s and all of that, and you do um if you really did the knowledge to how it's designed, everything about it is that structure, right? So, but I wanted to just really, just shoot the breeze. Anybody come through? I'm gonna be here for a minute, to be honest with you. I'm gonna just, you know, um, this is not really for anything. Wait a minute, did I change? I don't think I changed it on Facebook. Hold on, let me slide it over here real quick. All right. Change. Let me just see something here. Hopefully it won't, like drop me out and I have to start all over again. Um, okay. Wait, hold on. Let's see if I can change this. Um, change. Okay. Um, okay, so hopefully it should be updated. It should be updated. Nonetheless. So the first person I wanted to talk about, or the first thing I wanted to talk about, is Samuel Doe. Now, this fella, he's from out of Liberia. If you've been around, I've did shows on Liberia, and why Liberia is basically the freest nation in Africa, right? Because of what I'm about to get into. Now they, Dr. Doe, Samuel Kenyon Doe. He was born in May 71, right? He was a Liberian politician who served as the 21st president of Liberia from 1980 to 1990. Doe ruled Liberia as chairman of the people's, but let's get down to what happened. Doe was a master regiment in the armed forces of Liberia, the ALF, when he staged a violent 1980 coup, right, that overthrew President William Talbot. Right now, he was a part of the true Whig Party. Now, if that sounds familiar, you would know in America, um, like how now we have the Republican Party and a Democrat Party as if those are the only two parties that exist. But, there's always been multiple parties. Even right now, there's multiple parties. But, the Whig Party basically coming out of taking it from America was, like basically, like I said, it came from America. Liberia was founded by America, right? So this is a land that they took, then they wound up giving it back to, the Americans who were um, wanting to leave America back, like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln time, right? So, right, became a non-Americo-Liberian leader of Liberia, and then 130-year Americo-Liberia rule. Like it was, this American Liberia. Those suspended the Constitution of Liberia, assumed rank of general, and established the PRC, provision military government, with himself, the de facto head of state. Now the thing is, he let's go into down here, right? Him, he wound up, like I said, taking over this country. What happened after that is, but he took it over because of the Freemasonry. So we're gonna get into, this Freemasonic element as we understand. Now this is all up to date. This is stuff that's happening within the present time, right? So it goes, commanding a group of Crown soldiers, Minister Sergeant Samuel Doe led a military coup on April 12th, 1280 by attacking the Liberian executive mansion and killing President William R. Talbot Jr. His forces killed another 26 of Talbot's supporters in the fighting. 13 members of the cabinet were publicly executed 10 days later. Shortly after the coup, government ministers were walked publicly around Monrovia, that's named after Monroe. I believe it's Monroe, right? The dude in the nude, and then seemingly executed by firing squad on the beach. The convicted were denied the right of lawyers or any appeal. Hundreds of government workers fled the country while others were imprisoned after the coup. Doe assumed the rank of general and established a People Republican council, right, composed of himself and 14 other low-ranking officers who ruled the country. The early days of the regime were marked with mass executions and number of Talbot's disposed government. Doe ordered the release of 15 leaders of the opposition and Progressive People Party who had been jailed by Talbot during the race riots of the previous month. Shortly after that, Doe ordered the arrest of 41 officials of the Talbot regime. Within days, 11 former members of the Talbot cabinet, including his brother Frank, were brought to trial to answer the charges of high treason, ramp rampant corruption and gross violation of human rights. Though suspended the Constitution, allowed these trials to be conducted by the commission appointed by the state of new military leadership, with different being refused both legal, the defendants being refused both legal representation and trial by jury, virtually ensuring their conviction. Hold on, I'm gonna get to this. You might be mad now, but wait, right? Doe abruptly ended 133 years of Liberia political domination. Some held the coup as the first time since Liberia's establishment as a country that it was governed by people of Native African descent instead of by the Americo-Liberia elite, right? So you understand that, well, you might not know about the America-Liberia thing, but we're going to get into that. This was how they set up their classation. They was allowed to go over to Africa, the people over here, through this Masonic system and set up this elite, upperclassmen because they was these African American, Liberian, citizens, right? Public domination. Somehow the coup, as the first lab established that it was government of people Native American descent, right? Others, persons without American Liberian heritage, held a vice presidency, Henry II Wesley, as well as ministerial and legislative positions in years prior. Many people welcomed those takeover as a shift favoring the majority of the population that had largely been excluded from participation in government since the establishment of the country. So they came into that automatically violating them. However, the new government led the lead of the coup defeat and calling itself the People's Redemption Council. League experience was ill prepared to rule, though became head of the state and suspended the constitution but promised to return to civil rule by 1985. In the first allegation plot against his government, 9 military personnel arrested 2 months after the original 1980 coup was reportedly jailed for life. In June 81, his government denounced another rain coup, pardon me, I'm over here drinking, coup in which 13 members were executed behind closed doors. Months later, Thomas Weishney, an outspoken critic of some of those policies, included the closure months before the Liberian diplomatic mission and the forced reduction of staff from 15 to 16 at a Soviet embassy, was beaten and arrested on August 12th of that same year, along with 4 others. Now, this promised dismiss attorney, but none was given. In 3 days they were executed, which caused panic in the citizens of the capital. Right? Theories of the genesis of the coup. Right? In August 2008, before the Truth of Reconciliation Commission in Manova, Doge, former Justice Minister Counsel Che Chapo was contested in 2001 Liberian presidential elections. Aligned, the American CIA had provided a map of the executive mansion, enabling the rebels to break into it. It was in that enabling the rebels to break into it, that it was a white American CIA agent who shot and killed Talbert, and that the Americans were responsible for Liberia's nightmare. However, the next day, before the same TRC, another former minister of Samuel Doe, Dr. Bohemian Belila, testified that the Americans did not support the coup led by Mr. Doe. Some facts in the 1980 coup are still cloudy by reports of unknown soldiers. It is reported that an unknown soldier was one of the white mercenaries who would have staged the 1980 military takeover of the state, according to autobiography of Talbert's wife, Victoria. The First Lady witnessed a masked man with a white hand stabbing her husband, right? So his presidency during the rule, Doe portrayed himself as an enlightened leader whose actions were intended to bring relief to many. He styled himself as Dr. Doe, stating in 1982, after making a state visit to Cho Do-hoo, a South Korean, and being awarded the honorary doctorate from the University of Seoul. After 7 years of calling himself a doctor, Do announced in 1989 that he had completed a bachelor's degree from the University of Liberia. Relations with the United States. During his first year in office, openly supported the U.S. Cold War, foreign police policies in Africa during the 1980s, serving domestic relations between Liberia and the Soviet Union. The United States vowed Liberia as an important ally during the Cold War, as it helped to contain the spread of the Soviet influence in Africa. As part of the expanding relationship, Dole agreed to modification of the Mutual Defense Pact, granting staging rights on the 24th notice at Liberia Sea, an airport in the U.S. Rapid Development Force, which were established respond swiftly to security threats around the world. New constitution and elections, right? Increased risk civil war. Okay. Charles Taylor, a former ally of Joe, crossed to Liberia from Ivory Coast on 24th, 1990, to wage a guerrilla war against Dole. Taylor had broken out of jail in the United States, where he was awaiting extradition to Liberia on charges of embezzlement. The conflict quickly fled into full-fledged civil war. By mid-1990, most of Liberia was controlled by rebel factions. Now, me, this is what I like to say, right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy revealers, right? But sometimes as you going in your journey, right, you gotta conspire. You gotta, I'm not even conspire, you gotta um take things, evaluate them, put them aside, treat them like a puzzle, right? Now, earlier they was blamed for taking, the CIA was blamed for helping. Here go a guy in the United States, right? Taylor had broken out of jail. Where? In the United States, where he was awaiting extradition to Liberia. Not only was he able to escape, but he was able to make it to Liberia to start this guerrilla war. You ponder on that how you want to ponder on it, and I'ma just, you know what I'm saying, I'ma just leave it like that, right? Well, it says, okay, embezzlement. The conflict quickly led to a full-fledged civil war. By mid-90s, most of Liberia was controlled by rebel factions, right? Approximately 600 civilians was killed at the church in the Cinco section of Manova, and on the 28th of July. The massacre was carried out by approximately 30 government soldiers loyal to President Samuel Doe. The perpetrators were of Do Khan's tribe, while most of the victims were from the Giro and Mano tribes which were in support of the rebels, right? Capture. Doe was captured and maneuvered on on the 9th of September by Prince Y. Johnson, leader of INPFL, breakaway faction of Taylor's NFPL. General Quinco, the head of Ikangmong, had invited Doe to the ECOMOG headquarters for the meeting and assured him of his safety from the rebels. In the morning of September 9th, 1990, Doe arrived at a precious time at the precarious time during ongoing charges of grand duty, as well as armed and better equipped Nigerian team peacemakers. Make sure I can see. I don't know how much the peacemakers will be at. Um, Peacemakers and the weakening Gambi content. Now, the Nigerians team had just withdrawn from the scene when Doe conveyed a lightly armored personnel arrived. Doe was escorted to General Quinso office where he was formally welcomed, while most of his team of aid of guard waited outside. Johnson's rebels surprised everyone by suddenly arriving on the scene uninvited and heavily armed, overwhelming and disarming the entire Doe team while encountering no resistance. They then started shooting Doe's team individual and later in groups. Upon hearing the gunshots from outside, Doe expressed concern to Quino, who assured him that all was fine. Quino later excused himself to check on what was happening outside and was followed by his aides, Captain Coker and the Gambian content. Both men took cover upon assessing the situation. Johnson's men moved inside, finished of Doe's remaining team, shot him in the leg, and took him captive. When the dust settled, over 80 of those men lay dead. Coker characterized the incident not as a fight, but as a brutal massacre. Remarkable, none of the ECOMOG personnel were shot in the carnage. Torture and murder. Doe was taken to Johnson's military base to prove that he was not protected by black magic. Now we get to the point of what I was about to say. This is what Freemasonry promotes itself to be, right? So, right, Doe was taken to Johnson's military base to prove that he was not protected by black magic. Johnson ordered Doe's ears to cut off and in his presence. Shackles were also placed around Doe's legs and something strange was tied around his glands. Structure, right, his penis, right? He as can be seen in the recording. At the end of the recording, Doe was forced to get up. Some of his fingers and toes were also amputated, and there were attempts to mutilate the middle finger. After 12 hours of torture at Johnson's hands, Doe was finally murdered. His corpse had its head shaved and was exhibited naked in the streets. Maneuver was with cigarette burns. Doe's body was later exhumed and reburied. The spectacle of the torture was videotaped and seen on news reports around the country. The video shows Johnson sipping a beer as Doe's ears are cut off. Right? Now, let's go over and check out Mr. Doe real quick here, okay? Prince Johnson Doe. Prince Yorme Johnson, right? Born 6 July 1952. It is a Liberian politician and the current senior senator from Nimba County, a former rebel leader. Johnson played a prominent role in the First Liberian Civil War, serving as leader of the Independent National Patriot Force of Liberia. He captured, tortured, and executed President Samuel Doe, who had himself overthrown and murdered the president, the previous president, right? So we're gonna skip his early life, right? Hold on. Johnson was born, right, in Nimba County in the east central interior of the county. He was brought up by his uncle in the capital of Manova in 1971. While living in Manova, he joined the Liberian National Guard, LNG, which was transformed into the Armed Forces of Liberia, AFL, in the aftermath of Samuel Doe's, overthrow. He rose to the ranks of Liberian, receiving military training in both Liberia and the United States, where he was instructed in military police duties in South Carolina, a STEM, often doctrine. And I was thinking about this because I got to pull up that article. I forgot about that article. It was some training done. It was just like this. It was some training done, but I forgot where. I think it was from Scandinavia or something like that. And they had shot some dudes in America. Like they was doing some training and wound up shooting some people in America. It just made me think of that. Military training in both Liberia. I'm gonna look that case up. Where he was instructed in military police duties in South Carolina. A stern, often deterring disciplinary. He served as a side aide de camp to General Thomas Kuapia, the general force, and accompanied him into exile in 1983 when he was accused of plotting coup against Doe. Liberian Civil War and the warlordship. Johnson later allied with Charles Taylor, part of the National Patriot Front of Liberia, serving as cross formation, struggles. My fault. I don't mean to cut anybody's wisdom, but during the Civil War, Johnson was notorious for killing anyone who opposed the critical or criticized the actions. When Hare Krishna devotees who were distributing food to starving people in Amova in the midst of the chaos of the Civil War, sent him a letter begging him to stop killing people. He personally orchestrated the murder of Adis Ulin Devi Dushi, born Linda Jury, and 5 of her students on the bank of the St. Paul River on the night of Thursday, September 1990, killing President Doe. In September 1990, Johnson supporters abducted President Samuel Doe, right? Headquarters, Manova, Johnson, um, shipping Budweiser beer and being fanned by assistants as men cut off Doe's ears. Johnson later denied killing Doe, who predicted Doe's assassination in his novel Allah is Not Obliged, and accused Johnson of war crimes in the form of abduction and torturing several Firestore executives, right? Firestone executives. Claims to power. After Doe's death, Johnson briefly claimed the presidency of Liberia. Johnson claimed the power ended following consolidations of rebel powers under Charles Taylor in an attempt by a weak national government to reconstruct Liberia politics. The INFP was consigned to confess on conference held in Guyana, where Amos Sawyer was elected president. Flight to Nigeria. Johnson was forced to flee to Nigeria to avoid capture by rebels supporting Taylor, and was involved in the Second Liberia Civil War, while the Nigerian Johnson came a Christian and reconciled with the Doe family through intervention of Nigerian pastor. Return of public. Um, they must have removed a lot of the article. Yeah, they removed a lot of it. Yeah, they kept that there, but they removed what was it over because they had basically. Let me see. Right. Hold on a minute here. Right. Let me see. Give me 1 second here. Um. Okay. See right here. Let me pull this over for you. That's right. They Masonic Liberia. It goes because it goes Freemasonry was banned by Doe in 80, which caused the Grand Lodge influence of Liberia to greatly diminish. President Doe was later who later desired to become a Mason, lifted the ban on Masonic activities, which led to covering of this convening of the special Prince Hall meeting held in New Orleans in 1987 to elect a new Grand Master. Now, you see this right here? So, this is how I told you you got to know information in order for you to get it. They alluded to it even through both of them, but they never told you what was happening, right? So what was happening is this: the Grand Lodge of the Republic of Liberia is a fraternal organization based on the principles of Prince Hall Freemasonry. Prior to the 1980s, its membership tended to consist of Americo-Liberians and was influential within the ruling true Whig Party from the founding until the coup of Samuel Doe in 1980. So you should understand that from the founding, we should see how this Freemasonry works. It should start becoming clear to you how it's a structure and how these American Liberians, were basically made the ruling class. So if you can look, this is how I learned Freemasonry by observing its actions elsewhere. But most people would not know how to spot Freemasonry. So me, as being someone who knows how to spot it, like I said, even as I'm pulling up these articles, I know what the truth is. So I know even if they might, try to water it, I can just simply find it and pull it up for you because I know what is going on. And so, like I said, this system is designed, to conceal itself. This is what it really is. So we see that Freemasonry is dealing with this black magic and all of that. And we can see that same effect today in the United States. So this was something that was taking place, right? And from its inception. From its inception, and I'm gonna prove that as well. Well, they already said that, but we're gonna get more of in depth into this, right? So, in the 1980, where it goes like this, true Whig Party from the founding until the coup of William Doe in 1980, right? And where we go? Let me see something here. Um, Oh, and was influential within the ruling True Whig Party from its founding until the coup in 1980, when much of the senior leadership was killed and a new military regime banned Masonic activity in the country. So you see how it went from three individuals, all major. I mean, two individuals, major, but none of them addressed what it was truly about. Because Freemasonry was the foundation of that nation, and so if you want to see the damage of Freemasonry, we can look at these areas and go, okay, here's where the damage is coming in, right? Freemasonry, this Prince Hall Freemasonry is there before we see what is represented by its foundation. Its foundation is telling you it's a pecking order. Right, in America is the same color classation. There it was the same classation, the lighter skins against the darker skins, right? So we see this effect taking place and we understand that it's under the Masonic banner. So what did they do? They decide to ban Freemasonry due to that, right? So then it goes among the settlers that arrived in 1822 to the future Republic of Liberia were the new Freemasons hailing from Negro lodges in the United States of America that were formed by Prince Hall. Now, I'm gonna show and prove that this was actually free. That not only was it Freemasonry, and not only was it coming from the Europeans, right, to keep them, in bondage, right? But I'm gonna show that even from this bondage, their offspring would be deemed as still slaves as well, right? After the lapse of a period extended of 40 years, the surviving Masons, who included a number of past presidents and vice presidents of Liberia, left that felt that it was time had arrived for the formal organization of craft masonry in Liberia. In 1867, Thomas Amos, Joseph Jenkins Roberts, Beverly Beverly P. Yates, Charles Dunbar Sr., F. Johnson, right? These are the men, right? James M. Pierce, Samuel C. Glasswell, William S. Anderson, right? Assembled at a convention in Manova, at which time it was also dedicated that Thomas Amos would spearhead the establishment of the Grand Lodge of Liberia. Subsequently, the necessary dispositions was acquired to launch Orient Oriental Lodge Number One in Manova to enter, pass, and raid Freemasons according to the ancient customs and usage of the craft. Samuel disposition was also granted for the erection of two other lodges, now known as St. Paul's Lodge. I went to St. Paul's College, number two, and Clay Ashland Settlement in St. John's Lodge, number three, also in Minerva. Right, having the requested lodges to create a Grand Lodge, a second convention was held in Manova and drawn into the Constitution with certain bylaws. Elections also occurred, and the elected officers were installed as followed. Right, so this is Amos as the Grand Master, Johnson, Yates, Beverly P. Yates. These are the people, right? Right, and then the former Grand Lodge's Republic of Liberia was announced the following words: "We be born, we be Masons, true and loyal, having the interest and prosperity of the fraternity at heart, the being desirous and diffusing its genuine principles broadcast, have constituted and set up a Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons in the Republic of Liberia, and asked as a sympathy and recognition of the craft throughout the globe." Right? It appeals to positive response. Most of the Mason Grand Lodge's bodies, namely, right? This appeal met the positive responses of most Masonic grand bodies in the world, namely England, Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, right? Haiti, Germany, right? Spain, France, Italy, Berlin. Just understand where these places are located. Okay. Okay, expansion and political domination. The Grand Lodge of Liberia was founded in 1867. By the 1970s, there were 17 subordinate lodges, and the majority of Liberia high-ranking officials were Masons. Matter of the state were widely believed to have been decided from within the lodges. Being a Mason was a virtual prerequisite, right? Prerequisite for position of political leadership in the true Whig Party. Liberian Masons were criticized for their influence as well as for the exclusion of indigenous Liberians from their ranks. So you see how they was doing this. They was blackballing and they were just taking over. Bad business, right? So we should start to see how Freemasonry works. If we was not sure, if we can't look at Freemasonry from a European aspect, mean like all out, which I could, and I'm gonna show you this. But if we couldn't see the European aspect of how Freemasonry works, we hear it through the testimonies of the system that was operated in Liberia, right? Then we go like this: prohibition and reinstatement. After Master Sergeant Samuel Doe assumed leadership of the coup in 1980, Liberian Masons faced violent retribution. The president of Liberia and other Grand Masters, William R. Talbot Jr., was overthrown and killed by the coup. Freemasonry. So you see how they said that, but when we read earlier, they freely left out that information. Freemasonry was banned by Doe in the 80s, which caused the Grand Lodge influence in Liberia to greatly diminish. President Doe, who later desired to become a Mason, lifted the ban on the Masonic activities, which led to the convening of a special Prince Hall meeting held in New Orleans in 1987 and elected a new Grand Master. Right. This was followed by a meeting in Manova in 1988 when Freemason was formally reinstated. President Doe was subsequently initiated in 1989. Now we see where they going, wait a minute. Oh, so you're trying to start this back up, right? So in 1990, Samuel Doe in turn was murdered by Prince Johnson on Time Alley of Charles Taylor in an international television display to prove that Doe was not protected by black magic. So we see once again the two things on how Freemasonry has exposed itself. It exposed itself as black magic, right? And it exposed itself through Freemasonry and challenging whatever system. But the system of control is a snooty nose up to the people system, even if it's internal, because they get their power from these European entities. This is what I'm trying to show you is taking place to and behind the covenants of Freemasonry. Because once they come out the door, they come under many different names. Right? So, during the First Civil War, the Grand Masonic Temple in Manova was a scene of many battles, and the ruins became home of thousands of squatters. Right, thousands of squatter on trial. President Charles Taylor made light of allowing his troops to post human heads and skulls of enemies at checkpoints, saying it was no worse than a display of skulls in Western fraternal organizations. Why does he feel this way? Because he knows that through that system, more people will die and have died than the showing of, if you attempt to bring this system, we will bring it on to you. Masons, the Masons evicted squatters from the Grand Lodge by 2005, and the Masonic Temple has resumed to hold meetings for the subordinate lodges and the Blue Lodge Room, quarterly grand communication in the grand room, as well as meetings for the Eastern Stars and its subordinate chapters in their respective rooms within temples, according to the Grand Lodge 2015 reports. There are 19 subordinate lodges in Liberia and a total membership of 1,750. It goes, Buni Uri, a Freemason who is considered Liberia's richest man and is possible candidate for the Liberian presidency, has said he wants to see the Masonic Order of Liberia return to prominence in Liberian politics. Now, me myself, I would beg that Liberia holds true and understand what it's about. Even if we see people with this money, he would be like the Bill Gates to Liberia at that time. So I would pray that he never gets to be in that position, or more importantly, I hope that Liberia never returns back to a stage of Freemasonry. Okay, right? So these are the people, right, who are part of that Freemasonic order. Right? Okay, so as we can see right here, as they try to, blanket the truth, when you know the truth, it's impossible for anybody to argue you, right? Because you know what information it is, you know the history, right? So, now we went through, so this is what I'm doing. I'm going through my list of Freemasonry, right? So now we go field slaves in the United States, right? Chores, field slave. No. We're gonna not this one yet, right? We're gonna go into Illuminism, okay? Illuminism, right? Both meaning wisdom of the rising light, also known as Isharikian or simply Ishkian, right? Persian, Arabic, lit, rising, as a shining or of the rising moon, is a philosophical and metaphysical school of thought introduced by Shadi, right? Both meaning master of Illuminism, right? In the 12th century, established with his Kitab Hamat al Ashir, Book of Wisdom of Illumination. Fundamental text is finished in 1186, written by influence of, Napoleonism, Presbyterianism, advocacyism, the philosophies, and nevertheless distinct as a novel of holistic additions to the history of Islamic philosophy, right? So this is why when we hear about Freemasonry and they say at the end, at the 33 degrees of Freemasonry, you will find Islam, right? Because this Illuminism, but mind you, this is why I told you that we can see Freemasonry going back to at least the 1100s, right? So we understand that this system was set up, if this is, based on Islam that wasn't around at that time. It wasn't, additional, Islam wasn't, I don't believe it was called, Oh, no, no, no. It was called Islam. They weren't called Muslims at that time, because even then, I think they were referred to as Sacrians, Sacrians. If I don't know the exact pronunciation, but I'll get it. We're gonna get to it anyway. So, pardon me, real quick. Oh, while we here, let me just say, this is I'm Juice Wonder. This is Old Your Gritty Grand Strains, where we discuss what you need to know because you need to know it, right? So, for my 200, I was drinking Kool-Aid here. For my 200 subscriber, we have the Old Your Gritty Cup. That would be mailed to you free of charge. As well, on the other side is the I Gritty New York. Plus, I will be shipping you a free copy of my novel, Street Scoutsy, Knock 'em Out the Box. It's about two brothers on opposite sides of the law who must bury their grudge in order to track and hunt down their father's killer or killers. They are teamed up with the detective's own partner, Ortiz, and a young dancer by the name of Diamond to help them see if they can find the killer or killers in this mystery. I just asked you, really, the number one thing to do is hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell, so we can know whenever new content is being uploaded. But most importantly, it'll help me, get into the algorithms and stuff like that. Just by watching it is good. Leaving a comment, either I don't care if you want to troll, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Just but understand we here to tell you what is really going on. Let me see if my what's name is working, all right? Just we'll see. Where was I just at? Did it pop up? I didn't see it pop up. A little bit is all right. Well, let me check to see something real quick. Oh, my Twitch wasn't on. Okay, okay, it's on. Okay, here's what it's on. It's on. Uh, we had to with it. So you just like I said, if you want to come, holla, holla. If anybody come through, see, just wanted to take a quick breath, show you what we was doing. All right, so let's get back into this, people. Um, so this Illuminism, as you see, is Napoleonism. Let's see Napoleonism, right? Is a strand of Platonic philosophy that emerged in the third century AD against the background of Hellenistic philosophy in religion. The term does not escapulate a set of ideas as much as a series of thinkers. Among the common ideas is it does not um, is that of monoism, right? So we got the philosophy nevertheless dictates, right? We got it's a school of Persian philosophy which is established by Avicenna. He developed his philosophy throughout the course of his life after being deeply moved and concerned by the metaphysical of Aristotle and studying it for over a year, right? Presbyterians is a is a philosophical school founded in 305 BC by Aristotle and the Lyceum of ancient Athena. It was the informal institution whose members conducted philosophical and scientific inquiries. After the middle of the 3rd century BC, the school fell into decline until it was not until, hold on a minute, let's go in here for a minute. It was not until the Roman era that there was a revival. So you understand, as we looking into Freemasonry, I said that it is a dirty religion, a filthy science, and a wicked philosophy. So these are the philosophers that we have covered in many occasions, just like when we talked about the Druze, right? So we will be showing you this connection of all of these people and what does it mean? Like, right? It's a school of thought. So your daydreams, what you dream in your days, are not yours. Those are what moves you. Those are the dreams, right? Like, say somebody knock on your door, yo, you want $1 million, yada yada yada, right? You start already imagining spending the money. So with this same logic of your daydream being controlled, your desires would we would which would be, the four devils, right? These four devils. So these four devils will dictate how you move. Envy, jealousy, greed. What is it? Envy, greed, lust, and hate. But this understanding is the opportunity that comes from this system. While the Iqalit Mongol siege of Baghdad, see right here. So it goes the Mongols, right? Is spelled known to the Mongols as was a Khaganate established from the southern sector of Mongol Empire, linked realm officially known as Iran Zamin, was ruled by the Persianate Mongol house of Hugul, right? And then you got the Mongol siege of Baghdad. Siege of Baghdad was a siege that took place in Baghdad in 1258, lasting for 13 days from January 29th, 1258 until February 10th, 1258. The siege laid by Mongol force the Allied troops involved in the investment captured to sack Baghdad, which was capital of Abbadis, right? Baghdad, and destructed the House of Wisdom. You see, so they had their house, right? Just like, which would be the equivalent of the Vatican. It would be the equivalent of the Vatican, or when we get into the age of enlightenment, we will see that it also has to do with the age, the what do you call it? Edinburgh, right? And their school, and then you have the York School, right? And then you have the French. So these are these different school of thoughts, and so they have you battling while they never, go to arms, right? Wisdom, right? effectively ending the Islamic Golden Age in 1258. It also paved, so as you see, with the raid of Baghdad, right? You know, the Mesopotamia and all of that area, right? The Babylonians, you see that that's where this Islamic empire came out of, and this is where these stories like the Epic of Gilgamesh and all of that take place. And so they went inside there and stole, wrecked their house of wisdom. This ain't the first time, because if you remember, after George Bush and them gave the green light for them to go and take on Saddam Hussein, they went in there and attacked those libraries then as well. And I tell people that effectively ending the Islamic it also paved the way for novel philosophical inventions, such as example in the works of philosopher Abu Bakr al-Bahadi, specifically his Kaaba al, right, the book of what has been established by personal reflection. The book challenged the Aristotelian norm in Islamic philosophy, along with al-Baghdad emphasis on evident self-reflection and his revival of the Platonic, right, which is the Pluto, right, Plato, um, right, use of light and metaphor of for phenomena like inspiration and influence of philosophy of Shauharadu, right? Now, right there alone, if you don't understand what Freemasonry is, right? If you have any misunderstanding, let's go over this again. Such an example is the work of philosopher Abu Abra, right, al Baghdadi, specifically his Kitab al Matabar, the book of what has been established by personal reflection. This book challenges the Aristotelian form of Islamic philosophy. So we see that these Europeans, these Greeks, they had already their influence was heavy. So this is what influenced this Islamic, right? And as we know with the Druze, we know that as well. We will be covering them again, just for the record. Personal reflection of the book challenges Aristotle form of Islamic philosophy, along with emphasis on evident self-reflection in his revival of Platonic use of light as a metaphor for phenomena like inspiration, all influence the philosophy of Shawadi. The philosophy, it goes. The philosophy and logician, the logic, okay? Dan Omar Savu further inspired, right, with his fundamental works on mathematics and his creativity and reconstruction of the Oregon. Right? Oregon is a standard collection of Aristotle's six works of logical analysis and dialect. The name Oregon was given by the Aristotle followers, right? Savile, two-part logic based on expository proposition, right, and proof theory, Hajuja, served as the prerequisite model for the Shawuri own rule of thought. Among the three Islamic philosophers mentioned, right, works are two of them. Shawabi, I'm sorry, I don't get these names right. Upon finishing his Kitab, Book of the Wisdom of Illumination, the Persian philosopher Shahab al-Din Shadin founded Illuminism. In 1186, the Persian and Islamic school drawn an ancient Iranian philosophical discipline, right? Avicenna thought modified by Ibn Sina and the origin idea, right? Key concepts. Right. Well, just so we see that where this is coming from, right? So let's go again inside here. Let's go into our Freemasonic bag, right? Because these are all. If you could zoom, if y'all was able to zoom in, you would see the different things here. So let's go into this bag. Well, we can actually go through here. All right, let's go up here. All right, so we can go to the Druze. Right now, in the Druze, right, it don't take that long to just go right here. It's an Arabic speaking esoteric religious group with Western Asian who adhere to the Druze faith, an Aramaic monolithic syneric and ethno-religious based on the teachings of Hazma ibn al-Bin Ahmed and ancient Greek philosophers like Pluto, Aristotle, um, Pythagoras, and Zeno of Critium, a adherent of the Druze religion, called themselves the monolithic or the Eurytarians, right? The Espitals of the Wisdom is a foundational and central text of Druze faith. The Druze faith incorporated elements of Islam, Ishmael, Christianity, Geno-Gnomic, Napoleonism, right? Zenoism and Buddhism, Hinduism. So as we can see right there alone, we see this connection. You would have to be utterly blind at this point not to see who's the facilitators of this wicked system that we are still under today. We would have to be blind not to understand this philosophy of wickedness that is here today. Because with this last part, we can see as we go back into the Freemasonic system, whether it be even down to the Prince Hall, we can see where it comes back to, where it all connects back to these systems, these philosophies, these schools of thought, right? So when I say that, it's a filthy religion. Excuse me, dirty science. My stomach is growling. Got to get me something to eat here, right? Right. It's a filthy religion, a dirty science, right? And a wicked philosophy. You don't want to believe me. You thinking that, nah, like, but you don't understand that this system is meant to put you basically in bondage. Let me grab some no, pardon me here. Grab some granola. I want to make sure I don't press the wrong one. Grab some granola. All right, so by now, my argument should become clear. I'm eating some granola, right? One of my, I be having so many. They got a lot of. I'm not gonna promote them or nothing like that, but they got a lot of different ones. This one got was just the French vanilla. You know what I'm saying? With the almonds. Okay, where we at? Like I said, now we should start seeing this system showing itself, right? It placed itself in the tentacles of everything that you believe in. You can come up with a new thought and it's already theirs. You think it's new. I mean, you can imagine that's your own. But the direction that you're going and the things that you experience, they wrote the story. They erased your history and giving it to you the way they want to, all based on something that doesn't matter. Yo, that was me in that Bible. Oh yeah, Jesus was black. Yo, it says right here. None of that matters. You looking for a savior, Messiah, a devil. None of that. It's you and working with these people. That's all it is. It's just you working with the devil. And you see the devil right in your face by many names, by many attributes, but it's the same thing. Philosophy, this train of thought. I was around it. I know. Like in college, I get A's when it comes to philosophy. Carl Jung and what's his name? Freud. That's how it was easy for me to see these games that's being played. These psychological games, mass psychological games. Mass psychological games, the same type of psychological games that took down France. Took down France, right? Same system that took on Ireland, that took down Haiti. This same system. I feel like rolling. Is this same system. You ain't getting it. You ain't getting it. It don't matter. It's about taking the information now, abandoning all it, because that's what they want. Their goal is to take away all trust. right? Anything that you trust in, they're gonna challenge it. So just I don't trust in none of that. None of that stuff right there has anything to do with me. It has shown itself not. So as a revolutionist and anybody with a revolutionary mind, I would advise them to develop their science. Just understanding, studying this is where you'll see the game being played on you, right? It takes a special eye, right? Because as you see, this play on words, this skill. Same thing I told you is there. It was written for you to see yourself. You've seen it, right? So it's nothing for me to to say it to you. I understood what it was from the beginning. From the beginning, I knew what it was, right? This is about the blacks, the Great American Experiment, right? They removed your memory. They removed it, right? Gave you something that they didn't even believe in because they wanted you also to be an enemy of that same system, which in your old life you was an enemy of them anyway. But they switched it to where it was a religious thing when the people who were taking you had nothing to do with religion. I've already proven that to you with the Pope, with the Bull parables, right? So we know that they came in. We know that yes, the Sacrians, they had beef with them. We know that the Spaniards was cool with the Portuguese. We know that. We know that. We know that there was the duel of the Spanish and the Portuguese, but we also should be aware that when the Masons kicked in through the other factors of Europe, it wasn't just those two factors. Remember, we had the Dutch, we had the British, right? And so they up in there, they doing their numbers. The Norwegians, all of them, right? They doing their numbers. They making it happen. And so nobody is looking over there. Nobody is understanding what that meant. We have been we have been lied to. So me myself, whenever somebody asks me, well, what should we do? One, abandon all of that, abandon all of that foolishness. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Nothing inside that book has anything to do with me. No, I don't want you to show me it. I don't. That's your hustle. Your hustle is the finger. Look right here. It says, I don't care what it says. I ain't got nothing to do with that book. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Right? And that's for any one of them. Right? I don't want to hear it. And that goes for a lot of the information. Right? Let me find it. Let me find that information. I don't need you telling me what it says. The same way that lacking of comprehension has always been, our downfall. But it was by design that they made sure. See that like me, I was in regular school, I was horrible. Right? I mean as far as behavioral, right? Because I understood the BS like from a very young age. I was like a young Sheldon, but not You know what I mean? I was hood. You know what I mean? And so I can't tell you, quantum physics and no shit like that. But the science of people, I was very, very, very well aware of, right? So as I try to tell people, that, and I went out into the world, explored it, been cool, been in good, you know what I'm saying? Been in the situations where this system would have loved to took me out. And not to say it didn't try, but I move like the way I heard Raekwon say one time. Never been jacked. I see it and move black. You know what I'm saying? So I see the devil. I see the hatred when you get in the love, when you know what I mean, when you get in the money, you know what I mean, when you're not getting the money, you get hate even when you're not getting the money. You know what I'm saying? You get don't get it twisted. You get hated for not getting the money. You probably get hated more for not getting the money because now they ain't got a reason to kill you. So now they can just hate on you. That's why I always live by, man, hate on me. As long as you ain't trying to kill me. Long as you ain't trying to kill me, we goody good. You know what I'm saying? Long as you ain't trying to kill me, that's all I'm saying, man. That's don't try to kill me for telling you the truth. Right? And people know it's the truth because they know how genuine like you are. And the thing is, the places that I was at to tell the truth, I just didn't have the ability to give them the truth. Like, here, read this. So it's all about arguing what you think you know. And when you're saying what nobody ever heard before, man, that's all it takes, you know, for you to accept something that you never heard before as truth. Because everything, I mean, and I'm saying this for the people who accept information, right, that they heard, but oh, you don't like, and you don't like, oh, you ain't never heard that? Oh, yo, son, tell them, right? And yeah, that's true. Those people, like, if you need that type of validation instead of researching on the side and seeing if it's true, it's like you can ask somebody something 1,000 times, right? 1,000 different people from 1,000 different locations. If they all tell you the same thing on how that works, right? A wheel works because it's round, right? And you can go 1,000 places, and they go, "Yeah, wheel, it's round. It does this." If you can go through that, then that's a fact, right? I don't need to actually um experience the will because now I mean, but when it's time for me to experience the will, I know because I studied it from different sources to make it to see how much it stand. I'm meaning I'm never gonna take nothing for one answer. You know what I mean? Like, okay, when we was going through this, I went through like three things. I went through Sam Udo, right? Looking for it there, didn't pop up. Right, I'm like, it tells you we got killed. Oh, black magic, they left it like that. Then I went into Prince Y Johnson, right? And what do we get there? Right? Another dead end. So what I do, I type it in and bang, it comes up because this is the power of information, knowing. Like one thing I could say I agree with Einstein about is I don't need to know like every like what the book title is. All I need to know is what I need to find when I need to find it. As we was going here, you see me, I'm like boom, boom, pressing because all I need to know is where I need to find it in order for me to convey to you this system. This system. So next we're gonna get into, like the pardon me here. Let's see what else we're gonna touch on. Forgive me. Forgive me. If you know anything about them granola, boy, I tell you. Anyway, so we got the True Whig Party, right? Also known as the Liberian Whig Party, LWJ. It's the oldest political party in Liberia and one of the oldest parties in Africa. Founded in 1846 by primarily darker skinned Mexo Liberians in rural areas. It's historically rival of the Republican Party, followed by the decline of the latter. It demonstrated Liberian politics in 1878 until 1990. The nation was virtually governed by as a one-party state under the TWP, although opposition parties were never outlawed. Initially, its ideology was strongly influenced by the United States Whig Party, from which it took the name, right? Told you that already, with support like in the community, internal position in Liberia Public Society, um, the TWP, long term leaders. President W. Tadman was widely regarded as the father of the modern Liberia. Right? History. Right. The political party was founded in the township of Clay Ashley in 1864 and is recognized as the opposition party. It It's presided over the society which Black Americans settled as their descendants, known as Afro-Americo-Liberian, though a small minority of the population constituted nearly 100% of the citizens able to vote. It primarily represented them, often working in tandem with the Masonic Order of Liberia. The party first came to power after Edward James Roy won the 1969 Liberian general election and was sworn in as president the following year. The WTP historic opponent was the Republican Party. The Republican Party was tender to the support of Americo-Liberians of mixed African and European ancestry, while dark-skinned Liberians initially rallied around TWP. However, at the Republican Party, as the Republican Party began to decline and influence, most Liberians transferred their support to the TWP. After Anthony W. Gaynor was elected president in 1878, the TWP went, excuse me, the TWP, where we at? Went on to govern Liberia for over a century, while opposition parties were never made illegal and Liberia was not classed as a dictatorship. The TWP more or less ran the country as a one-party state, held a monopoly on Liberian politics. The party was accused of endorsing systems of forced labor. In the 1930s, they sent contract migrant leaders under conditions tenements to slavery to Spanish colonies on Fernando Po and in Spanish Guyana, now Bico and Equatorial Guyana, my fault. This led to the investigation of League of Nations, a 5-year U.S. and Britain boycott of Liberia following the recognition of President Charles D.B. King. Despite the dispute, the West generally considered the True Whig Party as a stabilizing, unthreatening force. My fault. How do I have my shit moving like that? Unthreatening force. Where we at? Here. Despite the fact some party later investigate the Union President stance to influence foreign investigations, promoted individuals, embarked on mass modernization program of Liberia domestic infrastructures, and led to a period of economic prosperity during the 1960s. Was credited for putting Liberia on the map and establishing a country of a modern power in Africa. Although opponents to Tubman's government accused it of being authoritarian, Liberia was widely regarded internationally as being a stable and successful nation in the region, which other African states were undergoing civil wars and political strife. Following Tubman's death in 71, the TWP leadership presidency was taken, derived the traditional policies by seeking to stress Liberian sovereignty and political independence. It opposed to a nation reliant on international business and government. Initiated some social liberal reform, pledged stricter regulations on foreign business operating in Liberia, granted official recognition status to opposition parties, and tried to rebalance economic disputes, disparities between Americans and native ethnic tribes. He also pursued open domestic and economic relationships with the Soviet Union and shifted Liberia for focus to another African nation as opposed to the West. However, some of these, so here goes the party now. I don't feel like going through no more. I went through. I just really would just like go over the true Whig Party. Like I said, anybody who knows about politics know like I believe like the first three presidents in America were actually Whigs, or it could be more than that. It could be more than that. Let me see right here, United States Whig Party. Right. Founded founders, success succeeded by the Republican Party, American Party, right? Let's see. Electoral, right? So president nominees running, election results. See? So one, where's the Whig Party at in this? Tickets. I know they won this one right here. William Henry Harris, John Taylor, Zachary Taylor, Fillmore, congressional recognitions. Let me see, do they got a so they had a few. Also, it's in gold. Okay, so let me see something here. Let me see. Was it American military officer and politician who served in the ninth president of the United States? Boom, boom, youth politician. I don't know. I know that they was around for a while. I forgot how many. I thought I would find it there, but I didn't find it there. Yeah, Prince Johnson. Yeah, so like I said, this is basically how I found about information. I just did my research. I said, okay, I want to know about certain things. And for some reason, just me searching, it wasn't that hard for me to find the information. So like I said, I didn't know the names, the players, none of this stuff, but there was things that I did know in the parts that I did know allowed me to go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this over here. Oh, this over here. So basically, yeah, it's this magic. So when you hear all of this magic and all of that, that's Freemasonry. When you see all of that stuff that you see on TV, the devil worshiping and all of that, just know that that's Freemasonry. That's not a joke. That's real. You know what I mean? Like, that's real. When you hear them on the videos and they saying, oh, they practicing this, that, and the third, that's real. How do you know? I just gave you political evidence. I just gave you political evidence. Oh, by the way, man, don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you can be so you can be notified whenever new content is being uploaded or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hit that, you know what I mean? Just to know, just so you can be in the know, bro. That's what it really is. Like, okay, let me hit that like. Cause you join us hot. Yo, I like that. That's hot. Give me a like. A word, you'll subscribe. Yeah, so you know what I mean? I mess with old boy. I mess with him. Click. Hey, let me hit that. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me get that notification because when he go on, I know he gonna go in. So yeah, let me know what's going on, doggy. Yeah, that's all it gotta be. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? For the 200 subscribers, you know what they get? Oh, your gritty cup, baby. Yup. I get an old York gritty cup, and they also, well, mug, and they also get my novel. Look how thick that is. See how thick that is? Street Skelzy knock come out the box. It's a real novel. Look, it got real words inside there. I doubt very much I'm gonna pay all that money just to just put like a whole bunch of jibber jabber in there. This is real, man. This is real. I wrote this, man, for real, man. I'm not gonna waste my time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and by the way, I made the cover too. You know what I'm saying? This is how artistic I am. Look at that right there, right? Street Skelzy. You know what I'm saying? Knock them out the box. You can also check it out on Amazon. Don't be afraid to support the team. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid. Don't go like, hey, you know, some other people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not monetized. I'm just here, you know, doing my thing with y'all. Without. Anyway. So we got that information down pack, right? So now we understand what Freemasonry is. We also understand how it's set up within the community, right, to sabotage us. Because we can look at it through these other events, you know, causing these conflicts, chicanery, right? Let me see what we're going on here, all right? Got one viewer. Come on, man. Come say hi, man. I'm over here, you know, talking to myself, man. You can come talk to me. You ain't gotta be all scared like that. Sheesh, man. Ain't gotta be all scared like that. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let me see some here. If all right, I'm gonna take my screen away for now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's Shakespeare Studio. You see me in the background there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I just really wanted to chill and talk today. You know what I'm saying? Drop some jewels, give you some information. You know what I'm saying? The great experiment, man. They doing it on us, man. They removed our memory. They removed everything that we knew. And now they're attempting to give it back to us to help them take down another system. Christianity. They want us to help them take down Christianity while they building this satanic world, which is really just the second to last nail in the coffin of communism. So this is why I do it, because you don't want to see your offspring enslaved because they don't know. Cause they too busy arguing about if Jesus is black or white, or because there's no real nothing in the tombs and Egypt is real because you can see them. I'm not praying to them. I don't care if I can see them or not. I'm not praying to those people. What are you, an idiot? Those people was enslaving and doing everything that these people right here doing today. You crazy as hell, man. You look at their system. They had to pray to other gods because you praying to them. Come on, man. Don't be so stupid like that, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't be that foolish in life, man. That's all I'm saying. You can't be that foolish in life, man. You know what I'm saying? They have set up a system against you. That's all I can tell you. They have set up a system against you, and all you can do at this point is to break free mentally. Mentally free. You got to go like this. Okay, you know what? I get it. You stole my identity, right? You stole who I am. And you know my heritage. I mean by who I am. The stuff, and now look at me. I'm walking around with your poison on me. I treat my people with your same poison. You understand what I'm saying? That's the way you gotta look at this in order for you to walk away from it. You know, like, okay, I'm out. I'm out from it. I can't take it no more. Like me, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Oops, pardon me. Like me, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna slide through here. Y'all be good peoples. One.